get it. Dunleavy just knocks him down again, and Dunleavy was out of bounds.
The Houston Rockets in playoffs thus far, 3-3 at home. Tiny Archibald. That's the shot he had that could have put the game at overtime in game 2. Fultz with a rebound, and Billy Fultz has been quite remarkable in the playoffs thus far. He's had 7 rebounds in one and 5 in another. Tom Henderson, Archibald on him. Here's Dunleavy. Into Moses Malone. He wants to get involved early in the game like he did in game 2, and they're going inside to him. 5 seconds on the shot clock. 3, Reid, and Malone follows.
So many times we've seen the penetration. The penetration hurts the team so badly because Moses Malone had a free path to go after that ball because Parrish had to help out on Robert Reid.
Robert Reid was 0 for 7 in shooting in game 2, and he misses his first this afternoon. Bird on the move. Reid commits the foul.
Now, what I think you'll see Larry Bird do today is that Robert Reid has done a good job on him defensively and make him work real hard for everything he's got. So what he may try to do is force the issue to see if he can get Robert Reid in foul trouble, because most likely he feels there's no one else on the Houston club capable of getting him into trouble throughout a game that Robert Reid is.
One thing that's also backfired on this Boston team foul-wise, they tried to get Malone in foul trouble, and he just really came back and handed them 15 fouls. 3 different players had difficulty with him. Larry Bird misses the back half of that. It's 2-1 now in favor of Houston. Del Harris. He did a remarkable job in game 2, calling very strategic timeouts when Boston looked like they might make a big push. And it goes to Malone, and there's a foul on Parrish.
Now, the amazing thing on this foul is that Robert was just actually trying to get himself back into position to guard Moses. He really didn't try to shove him totally out of the way. Well, the foul occurred before we picked up the replay on that one, and he really wasn't pushing him. He was just trying to get into position.
Parrish fouled out of the last game. He only played 14 minutes in game 2. Henderson inside. 4-1.
Those are the type of cuts that can really hurt the Celtics. When Moses gets the ball, they're concentrating on him so much. If the men will cut to the basket, and if Moses will give it up like that, they'll cause a lot of problems.
In game 1, Houston jumped to a 14-point lead. In game 2, the Celtics started the early lead. There is a battle inside. It's off. Houston's going to have it.
The ball's almost,
you can see how tough it is inside.
The ball's almost tipped in by Billy Pauls. He was the one that knocked it back up there, and it just did roll off the rim and then knocked out by Parrish.
Tom Henderson. A stability factor on this basketball team. Intended for Fultz. Larry Bird coming up with a steal. Out to Tiny. Cedric Maxwell. Maxwell had only 6 points in the last game, but he has his first 2 of the afternoon.
And that's a good example of how turnovers and bad shots can hurt you. That time, the bad pass by Henderson, the turnover, and the Celtics turn it into a fast break layup.
Cedric Maxwell felt that he just wasn't ready to play in that second game, but now he has asserted himself in the early going. Malone. Parrish and Bird are both there. Bird comes out with it. Larry Bird with 21 rebounds in each of the first 2 games. That's the most since 1967 by a forward. That's going to be Archibald with the charge. That's his first personal foul.
Tiny missed his man Chris Ford open on the right side that time and got into traffic, and in his efforts to get out, he dipped his shoulder and knocked the man out of the way, got called for the offensive foul.
Bill, we were visiting with Red Auerbach before the game. He just says it's tough to look good against this Houston ball club. There is Dunleavy. Count. Ford commits the foul. Chance for a 3-point play.
Well, what they do is that they take their time offensively, and it makes the other team a little anxious to get their hands on the ball, especially a team that wants to run like Boston does. So it makes it difficult. And what they have been able to do so far in all the series is change the pace of the game. So that's one thing they've done to get this far, is control the pace of all the games they've been in just about.
And Houston with that 7-3 lead. 9:19 to go in this first period of play. Larry Bird with 18 points in the first game, 19 in the second. Maxwell, Fultz, that'll be a foul on Parrish. Parrish already has 2 quick fouls.
They just cannot afford that. Robert Parrish play only 14 minutes like he did in game number 2. And then right away, he picks up a silly foul going over the back. 2 quick fouls on Parrish. 9 minutes still to go here in the first period.
Well, Boston may have to go to that bench that's been so effective early. Robert Reid in trouble. He threw it away.
Well, he jumped up in the air without knowing what he was going to do. And that's kind of tough, because if a good defensive team will make you have to guess. They give you a lot of fakes if they're good when you jump up in the air.
Another thing about him, Bill, he's 0 for 8 now from the field. If you include the last game and this one, he may have a little confidence problem right now, but this guy doesn't. Larry Bird nails it from outside. He has 3 points.
Yeah, that may be the understatement of the year that Larry Bird suffered from a lack of confidence. That man is, he wants the ball. He said it. Give me that ball in those tight situations. A sign of a great player.
Bill, you said it before. He adjusts so well to the game. Billy Paltz. There's Bird with yet another rebound. Paltz breaks it up, but Ford will have it. Here's Larry Bird, who always seems to fit in where they need him. Parrish misses the stuff. Ford will bring it back out. Robert Parrish. A little disappointed with that as Ford now. He thinks he has a three-pointer. The officials are indicating a two-pointer, and Earl Strom is going to check. Ford thought that was a three-point play, and it is now. Earl Strom indicates it is a three-pointer.
Well, I'll tell you, we would have marked it. Save this tape, will you please? There's Ford way behind the line. Earl Strom only signals 2, and then he changed his mind. I would have kept that tape. Official changed his mind.
Well, Chris Ford, excellent in the three-point range. Made it 8-7, but coming right back is Reid, and that's got to help him to hit that first shot. That was the first time all year long Reid did not score from the field in game number 2.
Billy Paltz picked up a foul right there. Robert Parrish is trying to come across to the ball where Tiny had it, and Paltz got him, gave him a cross body block to keep him away and picked up the foul.
Chris Ford in the playoffs was 5 of 15 on three-pointers before that last one he hit.
What their need is that Robert Parrish went up to dunk the ball and missed it. He pulled one of the loops off of the net, right in the front of the net. One of the loops came out, and they're going to have to go ahead and replace that. Here we'll see right there, Paltz picking up that blocking foul against Parrish. There was Tiny coming into play with the ball.
I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often, the way those guys slam the ball. Virginia High School to the NBA, and there'll be a story about the recruiting that went on as they tried to get him to go into the college ranks. That's all tomorrow right here on CBS Sports Sunday. 9-8, Houston with the lead. Chris Ford, nice fake. Out to Parrish, Robert Parrish. Rebound, Bird, and Bird already has a handful of it. Out to Ford. He has 3 rebounds in the game, and Ford threw that one away. Both these teams, Bill, look a little tentative, a little bit shaky right now.
Well, the games usually start out this way. Teams are filling each other out and seeing how it's going to work. Not only for the other team, but what's going to work for them to get a feel. And this usually takes 5 or 6 minutes.
Robert Reid, Maxwell jumps out on him. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Moses Malone, he saw Dunleavy breaking behind him, couldn't get it to him. 5 seconds, broken up by Cedric Maxwell. But Dunleavy retrieved off to Billy Paltz. Rebound by Robert Parrish.
There's a lot of guys on the floor in these games.
It has been physical, and Boston coming out of that physical series with Philadelphia. Bird, Paltz with a rebound, and Billy Paltz, he is such a factor in these playoffs at 6'11", 240. They were talking about how slow this team moves. They called it slow, slower, and Billy Paltz. And Billy Paltz has been a tough man to get out of there. You saw that last rebound by number 5. His 11th straight year in the playoff. And there's a reach-in foul. Is that on Parrish? That's his 3rd.
There we'll see the play again. Moses makes the cut right across to go for the ball. Robert reaches in, gets called for a reach-in foul. Not a good foul to take in that situation, of course. And Robert is in trouble, and that means the Celtics are going to have to go to their bench.
Picked up his 3rd foul already. He thinks everything he does is wrong. I think he feels his luck is so bad that if his brother died, they'd bury him.
Oh, my heavens.
Well, are you surprised they've left Parrish in the game, though, with 3 fouls?
Well, they have to have some minutes from him, and they're just going to have to take a chance.
He only played 14 minutes in game 2. Reaching in is Chris Ford. Moses Malone, there's that hook, and that's a tough shot. Moses Malone now with 4 points. The Rockets with an 11-8 lead. Here is Maxwell. And it goes to Parrish. Here's Parrish trying to assert himself. Paltz is up there. Bird with a rebound. Reid with a block. Ford comes up with it. And still the Celtics can't get it to drop. The Houston Rockets getting some breaks inside.
Hey, this is how the Celtics won the first game, was on the offensive boards. They got so many more shots. And this is one thing the coach is going to have to tell them about. You've got to screen out, and you can't just do it once.
Dunleavy, nice pass to Billy Paltz. The Paltz shot is not on in this first half thus far. But they have a fresh 24 seconds, 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first period. Henderson off to Reid. That's Parrish anticipating the pass. Up to tiny Archibald. Archibald still looking for his first points. Forward, back to Parrish. Well, he got that one to go.
That works. And they had a 5-on-4 because Malone was going for the basket. When the pass was intercepted, he never did catch up. So they had a 5-on-4. That's the kind of play they should have had.
Sometimes, Bill, there's been talk that they've been trying to force that fast break sometimes.
Well, they do. They think they have to run.
Reid in a little bit of difficulty. Cut down Levy. Parrish with another rebound. Boston is 4 of 15 from the field thus far. Archibald, and that's what he does best.
And Tiny just used his body to perfection that time. He took Henderson to the basket. He leaned into him, held the ball away from his body, and laid it off the glass. Nice play.
The Celtics with a 1-point lead, 12-11. Henderson out to Robert Reid. Reid in his 4th year out of St. Mary's College in San Antonio, Texas. Dunleavy trying to use the screen by Billy Paultz. 3 seconds on the shot clock. 2. With 1, he just got it under. No, he did not. Earl Strom says the shot clock expired. That basket will not count.
And he took a few steps before he took a shot anyway.
That's one of the few times that's happened to them. Houston has really been able, with 1 second left on many occasions, get the basket.
Well, that's not so bad for them because that's what they want to do. They want to make the Celtics anxious to get the ball.
There's Ford where he hit the 3-point earlier. Look at Larry Bird trying to pass.
I'll tell you right now, Robert Reid fouled Larry Bird badly. I mean, he was concentrating on screening him off the boards, and he just ran everywhere with him, underneath him. And hopefully we'll get a chance to show you that. We've got it on replay.
Calvin Murphy getting ready to check in for the Houston Rockets. Here's Paultz. That's his spot. And we're going to have a loose ball foul.
Let's take a look at what Reid does to Bird on this play, on this shot by 4. Now look at Robert. He grabs him first with the right arm. Now he backs into him. He gets away. Bird's looking at him, backing into him. Just fouled him to death that time. Never got the call.
At the other end, Robert Reid committing his 2nd foul. Murphy now checking into the ball game.
No blood, no foul.
I guess not.
Calvin Murphy, 33 years old today. This is his birthday. Also coming into the ball game is Rick Roby. Here's Roby replacing Parrish with those 3 fouls. A little body action that time. Maxwell. And Maxwell gives the Celtics a 3-point lead. Cedric Maxwell already with 4 points after playing all that time on game 2 and coming away with only 6. Here's Henderson. Archibald on him. 3:22 to go. First period. Murphy trying to shake Chris Ford. Billy Paultz. Out it comes to Henderson again. 5 seconds on the shot clock, and Henderson, who's hit some big shots throughout the playoffs, makes it 14-13. 4 points for Tom Henderson. Archibald again. Beautiful play, and Tiny's on the floor, but that's characteristic of him.
What happened that time is that Billy Paultz got caught not knowing where the ball was, and the next thing he knew, Tiny was there laying the ball up before he could react to it. You must keep sight of that ball at all times.
Well, you see, Billy Paultz is wide open trying to get back on defense, you see. And he didn't have time to look back.
Well, that's one of the things I remember growing up. My father said, when you're running down the court defensively, you should learn to run backwards so you know where the ball is. Steve Paultz taking a shot. There's Bird with the inside position. Moses gave a little shove, and then he comes over the back.
And so the ball is off of the Boston Celtics. A timeout has been called with 2:44 to go in this first period. Bill Willoughby getting ready now to check in for the Houston Rockets. As Billy Paultz will leave, Paultz having a difficult time shooting from out. We come back in. Reid tries a shot. Roby comes out with it.
And Roby's hand went up through the basket and into the net on that particular play when Robert took the shot when he got the ball. I don't know whether they saw that.
Chris Ford, he's been open over in that spot. Look at this. Reid and Bird going after each other. Well, Del Harris said you're 100% defense on Bird during the timeout, and that's playing tough, isn't it?
Well, Robert Reid said he threw an elbow at me, he said, to Bird, and we'll see maybe we can pick that up. But tempers flaring a little bit. The intensity here, emotions of a playoff game run so high. A lot of times you get frustrated when things are happening out there and the call isn't being made, and I'm sure Larry Bird got frustrated by the boxing out tactics of Robert Reid and decided to shake him loose that time.
I'll tell you, Bill, Robert Reid has done a good job on Larry Bird.
So far.
18-19 to go in this first period. Moses Malone, Roby on him. Broken up. Malone comes away with it. Beautiful play. Three-point lead, 6 points now for Moses Malone. Malone just taking over. He says that lane area where the paint is, that's his area.
2 minutes to play in the first period.
Here's Bird, intended for Roby. Calvin Murphy broke it up. Bill Willoughby off to Murphy. Bird is back. Calvin lost it. You know, Calvin committed only 1 turnover this entire series. That's the second one. Here's Ford, three-pointer again. Ford with 2 from out there, and it's a 5-point lead for Boston. Make that 6-point, 21-15. 8 points now for Ford. Hey, Chris Ford has really played well. He has been 10 of 19 in the 3 games, which is about 53%. Rebound, out it comes to Henderson. Bill Willoughby against Bird. Willoughby had 14 points in the last game, a playoff high. 1:16 to go. First period, Roby, good hands on the play. Blocked that time by Malone. Larry Bird. Oh, he runs into Reid. And it's going to be a charge on Larry Bird.
We'll see the battle. Willoughby knocks the ball loose. Bird had the shot, decided against it. Reid goes over to get the position. Bird gets him with the shoulder.
Those 2 guys are kind of sticking close to each other, aren't they?
Yes. And you know what happens, though? Reid will have to sacrifice some defensively.
Calvin Murphy getting back on that fast break opportunity. Ford to Maxwell. Blocked by Willoughby. What a play by Bill Willoughby. Back it comes to Calvin Murphy. 2-on-1. Malone can't handle it.
A good fake by Larry Bird defensively. And you have to do that sometimes defensively. You can't wait and let the offense dictate what's going to happen. He made a fake at Murphy and then stepped back in the lane. And just enough to blur the vision of Moses Malone. That's the reason he might.
Maxwell. And he's, wait a minute, they're going to call a foul on Cedric Maxwell. That's his first. He's in disbelief. Alan Level is now checked in at guard, replacing Tom Henderson for Houston with 37 seconds to go in this first period. Level was a guy that eventually hit the game-winning shot in Game 2. The biggest shot he said of his career.
Bill Willoughby set an offensive screen that time as Level came off, and Earl Strom picked up the foul.
And so now with 28 seconds, you see the time remaining. Boston will have the basketball. Thus far in this period, Boston has 3 offensive fouls. Houston with 2. And now Calvin Garrett will coming in. Garrett, 0-0, replacing Robert Reid.
Now, you know, a lot of things happen to change games, the way they're played. And one of the things that most people don't really realize can change the game are the referees and what they call and what they don't call. Because if they just, some referees call it close and some referees, and when you're playing the same team, you want to play the same way every night. But if the referee would call it different, you have to play it different.
That was good defense by Calvin Garrett. Now the last shot of this first period. Level to Billy Fultz, who's come back in and he hits that one. And that is going to end our first period of play. The Boston Celtics, after 12 minutes, with a 21-17 lead. The Celtics have won 6 straight here in the Summit in Houston. They'd like to make it 7 in a row.
Call things, and so you say, why is the foul on this end and not a foul on the other end?
And will that vary then from game to game, or can you categorize an official pretty well?
Well, they try to call them as close as possible the same way, but there's still variances in the way that in the execution.
Steal by Gerald Henderson, who's checked in to start the second period. Henderson has really played well. He scored 21 points in only 37 minutes of the first 2 games. 21-17 in favor of the Celtics. Cedric Maxwell uses the pick by Bird off to Roby. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Nice pass to Maxwell. Larry Bird, who had 9 assists in the first game. 6 points now for Cedric. Matching his output of game 2. Maxwell playing much more effectively. There's the stats we mentioned earlier. Same from the field, 38%. Very, very physical, and that's what we can expect for the remainder of this World NBA Championship Series. Out it comes to Calvin Murphy. Murphy looking for his first 2. Rebound by Bird. Bird with 4 rebounds. Off to Henderson. Here's Larry. Calvin Garrett at 6'7", the only rookie on this Houston team from Oral Roberts. Moses Malone is there. There, Garrett has played tough.
Well, I'll tell you, Larry pulled up. I think he didn't realize how far he was out. He was only one step in the three-point area, and he came up with an air ball.
Here is Garrett. He started 35 games during the regular season. They didn't play much from March on. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Level, beautiful pass, but Garrett doesn't get it. Bird out to Gerald Henderson. And Maxwell touched it last. Houston will have it. And there, Bill, is something we've seen that's really not characteristic of Boston. They made a lot of long passes that have gotten away from it.
Well, now that pass, for example, Maxwell would have had it, but the defense got back in time. That's the same as they did in the other play. It blurred his vision and threw his timing off.
But again, they've had the difficult time with the long passes. Malone, and he just forces his way inside. It's now 23-19. Malone with 8 points. He makes a move like that. Clear out. Chris Ford on Calvin Murphy. Murphy
Same
trying to draw the foul.
Same 2 plays. But they usually call them different for the guards and forwards than they do for the centers, though.
25-19. Level, probably the quickest player on this Houston team. Murphy isn't. Rebound, Rick Roby. Now Murphy, a lot of times will start out missing his first 2 or 3 shots, but he'll come back strong. Maxwell ran over Level. Here is Bird. Larry Bird using the glass. Bird now with 5 points. Level really got decked on that last play.
Well, I think the ball was passed over to Bird, of course, as you saw, and the official's attention was drawn towards the basketball, and they never did see the collision between Level and Cedric Maxwell. Both teams did a good job in the first quarter getting, well, both of them only went inside 12 times, and they both came up with 5 baskets, so they're pretty even on those baskets inside of 12 feet.
Inside of 12 is what you're talking about, as Del Harris using that 20-second timeout with 9:20 to go in this first half of play.
You know, a lot of times on turnovers on fast breaks, it is worth it to the team to increase the number of turnovers to run the ball up. Because on the overall picture of the game, it is better to have your team wide up and running loose and throwing the ball away sometimes than to concede the pace to the other team.
Let them dictate to you, huh?
Right. So you force to run, and when you force something, you're going to make more mistakes. But the overall picture of the game, you may be better off, even with the turnover. You try to keep them at a minimum, but you're better off to turn over a few times than like I said, to slow down the pace.
The time the coaches don't like it is like the choice of pass that you make, trying to throw a pass with 3 men around your other man, and the Celtics did that a couple of times. Those are the kind that really annoy Fitch, but I agree with Bill. You still try to keep playing the game that you play best.
In game 2, there were 22 turnovers by the Celtics, leading to 31 Houston points. Moses Malone, no trajectory on that one, and we have a loose ball. That's going to be Calvin Garrett with the personal foul. Now we're going to have a timeout. 9:06 left. First half. 27-19 at halftime. We'll have a rebound feature, as we'll be back in a moment. Player of the year, and we're going to announce at halftime the coach of the year. So stay with us. I'll let you know who that is. 8:57 left in this first half. 27-19, the biggest lead of the game now for the Boston Celtics of 8. Gerald Henderson. Maxwell. And Cedric will bring it out. Calvin Murphy giving chase on him. Larry Bird with 6 rebounds, leading both teams thus far. Here is Bird. Nice pass to Roby, but Moses Malone comes out of there with it.
Yeah, Rick Roby gave a sign to Larry, said, nice pass, Larry. I should have had that one.
Steal attempt by Henderson. Look at the quickness of Allen Level.
Now, I tell you, Allen Level really helps the Rockets sometime if they want to try and get things going a little bit quicker. He would be so much better on another team. It's incredible. Some players have to fill into roles that really aren't their best. Allen Level is that type of player. On the Celtics, he would be so much more valuable because he's a quickness player. He likes to be in the running game. He really has to keep himself under control playing for the Rockets.
That's the first foul on Allen Level, the second team foul now on the Houston Rockets. Bird, Garrett has now drawn the defensive assignment with Robert Reid on the bench and staying on him tight. There's Malone with a rebound. Again, Garrett has really done a job. He's made Bird work for everything. 7 minutes and 53 seconds to go, second period. Here is Murphy. Chris Ford on him, broken up. Larry Bird with it. Now, in the last game, Houston had only 10 turnovers. Already in this game, they have a total of 8. And there is Maxwell.
And again, those turnovers right there, hurting the Rockets. They throw the ball away, and the Celtics are opportunistic, and they'll turn it into a fast break opportunity, just like they did right then. Another layup.
And it's a 10-point lead now for the Celtics. Murphy off to Calvin Garrett. Murphy still looking to get on the scoreboard. He's had a tough time now. They drop off. They were going to let him have the shot. That's interesting. 5 seconds, 4 on the shot clock, and Level can't get it. Another rebound for Bird. Here's Henderson. Rick Roby, it's 12 points now, the lead for Boston.
And the Rockets better regroup because the Celtics are starting to get that prime point where they can break a game open because they've picked the pace up quite a bit in the last couple of minutes. And I see the Rockets call timeout.
Del Harris did a good job calling timeouts in game 2.
Well, here we see the break. See Chris Ford, good defense, gets his hand up. Bird, quick to react, picks it up. He gets it off to Cedric Maxwell. Cedric will take it down on Garrett. Sees the man coming open on the right side. Roby, he's up in the air, gets it back to Maxwell. Another 2 for the Celtics.
Right now, the biggest lead of the game for the Boston Celtics, 31-19. And Bill, you said it very well. The Celtics are starting to really get things in gear now.
Now, what Houston has to do is they have to make some adjustments, throw the ball up a little more, see if they can bring the pace down. Because the pace changing sometimes slips away from you.
Robert Reid is checked back in. It's a run of 10-2 by Boston that gave them the lead they now enjoy. Malone is fouled by Rick Roby. Roby tried to push inside on him. Roby committing his first personal foul. So Parrish picks up 3. Now Roby 1 is again Malone working on those opposing centers. 15 fouls against him in that center position in game 2.
Well, Del Harris really feels that if the game is called close, it's going to be certainly in the favor of the Rockets. They're nowhere near as physical a team as the Celtics are, and that really proved to be true in game number 2. It really helped the Rockets. They had such a large number of free throws as opposed to the Celtics.
Well, this guy here hit 11 of 18 in the second game. Now makes it 31-20. Well, that's the new switch as they inbounds differently. Off it comes to Larry Bird. 9 points in the game now for Malone. Reid going for the steal. Out to Gerald Henderson. Calvin Murphy playing the defense on him. Here's Bird. Reid back in after Calvin Garrett did a good job, but Chris Ford has really played well. He has 12 points all from the field.
I'll tell you, that shot looked easy. That was not an easy shot. He shot it right-handed and had to reverse spin it on the glass, and if you don't do that exactly right, the ball comes nowhere near going in.
Ford, the high-point man on the floor thus far. Reid off to Henderson, and right now Boston is tough. Here's Billy Paulk side to follow. The Whopper brings it back out with a fresh 24 seconds. Calvin Murphy. Murphy's missed his first 3. Malone, it's off him. And Boston will have the ball.
Well, watch this last Boston basket. Chris Ford is now on the other side. He was set a screen that time by Maxwell. He got open. The switch was not made in time by Malone. And a great shot by Chris.
Chris Ford having an excellent series. Roby. Holt trying to stay on him. You can see Moses Malone on Maxwell. He's the guy that shut him down the last game. Henderson was 6 seconds on the shot clock. We have a foul.
Tom Henderson got called for pushing down low, and Malone had blocked the shot of Henderson. It looked like the Rockets could have been off for a break opportunity off of that block.
Boy, Houston really struggling. They're 1 of 10 from the field in this second period. Boston, on the other hand, has hit 5 of 8. And Mike Dunleavy will now come in. Calvin Murphy. I tell you, Murph, it's interesting to me, Rick, how he starts out. A lot of times he doesn't hit those first few shots. He'll come back and eventually reassert himself.
Well, Murph's a shooter, and a shooter can't stop doing what he does best, which is shooting the basketball, of course. And some nights they're not going to go for it. It's up to the coach to take him out of the game. But he's brought into the game to give the team some offense. It hasn't worked for him so far in this one.
The biggest lead of this game, 15 points, 35-20.
That may be the biggest lead of the series.
Well, that's right, because we had a 14-point lead by Houston in the first period of the first game. Dunleavy up to Tom Henderson.
Henderson,
they're playing hard-nosed defense, I can tell you that. It's a lot of contact.
Billy Paulk backing in on Maxwell. Billy working hard for his shot, so now he started to come back. Paulk with 4 points. 35-22. Right now, the Celtics are playing Celtic basketball.
Only the second field goal for the Rockets in this quarter.
That's right. They were 1 of 10 before that. Here is Maxwell against Malone.
And that's one thing Fitch said he's going to have them do. Bill Fitch said he wants Malone to have to play down on the other end of the court, play some defense, and they want to look to Cedric to get Moses more involved, wear him out a little bit.
And Maxwell is certainly more involved. 10 points. Moses Malone out to Billy Paultz, and the Whopper is fouled as he moves inside.
Good fake that time, ball fake by Billy. To get his man out of position, he takes it to the basket. There he gets the good fake, gets Bird totally out of position, makes the move to the hoop, picks up the foul. You see that on a different angle from behind the backboard. There's Bird leaving his feet, and the foul coming up. Paultz will go to the free throw line. The Rockets only scored 3 points here in 7 minutes and 10 seconds, so the Celtic defense has really become quite intense, and the Rockets have not been able to get those outside shots to drop, and that, of course, enables them to drop in on Malone more.
Well, the only guy they have out there now that's a real good outside shooter is Dunleavy. Although Reid's not a bad outside shooter, that's not his forte. So if they can't get into Malone, then the Paultz will have to pick up the slack.
And also, we talk about that inside game. In this quarter, since Boston's run out to the lead, they have 6 inside baskets inside that 12-foot area. We talk about only 1 for Houston.
Well, Houston's a good free throw shooting club, but you wouldn't believe it as you just watched that. Billy Paultz missing 2. 37-22.
1 for 4 in this quarter.
They had 5 guys during the regular season of play shooting over 80%. Roby, nice move by Rick Roby.
That's what called a front turn.
Hey, I think somebody got riled up in Boston. I think the Celtics are really a little bit angry in this game.
Well, I think ML Carr summed it up when he said, sometimes, you know, you can use a loss. It's like a slap in the face, they said to the Boston team, and they're responding.
Malone is fouled by Rick Roby. Roby committing his 2nd personal foul. Bill Willoughby now checking in. Now, Roby hurt his shoulder in that first game, and he said, I couldn't even sleep that night. It was so painful. He hit that rubber guard underneath the backboard, and as Bill Russell said, it doesn't move very far.
You know, one of the things, Bill, that seems to be the case with the Rockets is that if Moses has the big game over 30, he seems to be able to carry the fact that other players might not have a good game, 18, 20 points for him to share the load. He carries them. And when he doesn't have a particularly good game, if you get a guy like Reid, Murphy, Dunleavy, players like that picking up the slack, they're still able to win. Now, in this situation here, the other players aren't picking up the slack, and Moses isn't off to one of those great big games, and so they're suffering as a result of it.
There's a break for the Rockets after Malone missed that free throw. Moses now trying to follow. Willoughby tips it off to Robert Reid, blocked by Larry Bird. To Chris Ford. Henderson on the move. Willoughby. Willoughby back to Robert Reid.
Henderson could have dropped that ball off to Chris Ford for an easy layup. Instead, he wound up taking a difficult shot.
Billy Paultz didn't want to take that shot. Now having a little difficulty, and he walked with the ball.
Just little steps.
Billy Paultz just a little bit shaky on that last play. 39-23. The Boston Celtics with the lead.
You know the difference between playoff basketball and regular season basketball? Every game, you see 48 minutes of intensity.
You see a disappointed Del Harris at this particular time. Houston 2 of 12 from the field thus far in this 2nd period. Here's Bird, 9 seconds on the shot clock. Roby against Billy Paultz, a left hand again. And Dunleavy may have pushed off to get that rebound.
You can count on that.
Yeah. Well, Mike, he said to me before the game, he said, if you stop talking about those little tricks of mine, he says, the officials are starting to watch me. Well, they watched him that time. He was right.
That's the 4th team foul against Houston, the first on Mike Dunleavy. Dunleavy, a hard-nosed competitor, has hit some key baskets and free throws throughout the playoffs. Ford with Willoughby on him. You can see Boston moving the ball very well. Here's Henderson. Rebound Malone. Moses Malone. As we approach 3 minutes now left in this first half.
And the Rockets have only scored 6 points in 9 minutes of play. It's good credit to the Boston defense.
There's Billy Paultz. Willoughby comes away with it to Malone. And he is fouled. Boy, what a job by Willoughby that time just to keep the ball in play for this Rockets team.
They will watch Moses Malone, the ever-working Moses Malone. Well, this time he just picks up a gift that comes right back to him. ML Carr comes in to try and stop him, can't do it. Picks up the foul with 2:53 to go here in the 2nd period. Celtics are in command by 16.
and Musburger at the CBS Sports Desk. Two very interesting features coming up. One revolves around Lester Hayes, the all-pro defensive back for the Oakland Raiders. You may have watched during the Super Bowl. He did an interview. He had a speech impediment. It's very, very interesting to see what improvements he's made since that time. And also, we'll take a look at that exciting light heavyweight division, as we have had some outstanding fights throughout the year, and those will be backgrounded at halftime right here on CBS Sports Saturday. 2:53 left to go, first half. Moses Malone makes it 39-24. 11 points for Malone. Malone with 3 field goals, and now he's hit 3 from the line. There's Robert Parrish. He picked up those 3 fouls early. Rick Roby's come in and done a very outstanding job with 4 points and being tough on the boards. Right now, the Celtics have things going their way. ML Carr with Dunleavy on him. 6 seconds on the shot clock. 3, 2. Archibald with 1. Malone with another rebound. Malone really doing an excellent job on the defensive boards. Houston now trying to make the move. They have not been able to get things untracked here in the second period. Robert Reid would be one of those they'd like to get his shooting touch back. Malone just hustles. And we're going to have a foul. Moses Malone, just an excellent effort on his part. I don't even know how he came up with a basketball.
ML Carr gets the foul. There you see the ball gets away from ML. Moses will grab it. Carr caught him with the left foot, and that's why Moses tripped. His left leg came up in the air. Moses tripped and fell to the ground.
That's the second on Carr. 15 foul now against the Boston Celtics.
Now the Celtics, important now that they don't give the Rockets some life. They did that in game 2, Bill. They had that 8-point lead, and they let the Rockets score 4 quick points before the half came to a close, which gave the Rockets a little bit of hope coming into that third period. And right now, with the lead that they have, it's 14, has a chance to cut down to 12. The Rockets are starting to eat into that lead right now.
And it's coming from the free throw line. Moses Malone now with 13 points.
Well, they've got 6 points off the free throw line in this quarter, and only 4 points, 2 field goals.
The biggest lead was 17 points by the Celtics. Now it's 39-27. One thing about Houston, they've been in situations before where things were going badly, only to come clawing back into the game. Roby against Malone. Robert Reid with a rebound. The Rockets now can cut it to 10. Robert Reid, boy, he'd like to get that shot on track again where he had 27 points in the first game. Broken up Bird with it.
McHale made the block.
Here's Archibald. Oh! Heine just forces the issue all the time, and you can see what the end result is.
Well, see, that time the Rockets didn't go to what they did best. They were successful going into Malone. They went away from it that time. Reid tried to take it into traffic. They got in trouble. The result, Boston layup on good defense by McHale.
Roby does not believe that. That's another foul on him. Roby has 3 now, as does Robert Parrish. Malone is wearing these guys out in the foul situation. He had 5 fouls game 2. Roby stayed around, but Parrish ran out of eligibility, committing his 6th. 41-27.
Well, that's one of the advantages that the Celtics have over a lot of teams that the Rockets have played in playoffs. They have the guys that are, in a sense, expendable.
Rockets have shot 13 free throws to only 4 for Boston.
And Houston's doing a very interesting thing. They're challenging the inbounds pass all the time to make sure that the Celtics don't get the fast break, except when there's a breakdown.
Reid trying to stay with Larry Bird. Malone keeps it in play. ML Carr tries to go up twice with it, and it's off the Boston. And you sense that Houston now is starting to make somewhat of a move. Boy, you can see how tough it is defensively in the playoffs. And there was a good example of it when you go inside with a basketball.
Now, you can tell the defenses when you see guys under the basket not scoring and guys changing their shots. That
basket will not count if it goes because Dunleavy walked with the ball. Traveling on Mike Dunleavy with 39 seconds left. Very angry crowd now here in the Summit.
Well, they got to break that time. ML Carr made a great defensive play coming in to pick up the ball on that steal, and if he had kept control of it, he was off to the races for a layup. But walking on Dunleavy gives him the ball back. 22nd timeout.
22nd timeout by Bill Fitch in the Boston Celtics. He was trying to get their attention over there. He does with 30 seconds. Let's go back to the last traveling call.
Now here we see, look at ML right there, makes a good play. If he had caught the ball and hadn't dropped it there, so he was off for a layup. Dunleavy knocks it back loose. Here's Henderson with it. He gets it off to Mike. Now let's see if he does indeed take steps. One to a stop. That's not a walk. Caught the ball, came to a 2-foot stop, went up and shot the ball. He did not walk.
You think maybe one of the extreme officials made a mistake?
Rick, it could be. Just a slight possibility.
I like the way you put that, Bill. It was very diplomatic on your part. 41-28. Don't forget at halftime, we'll be going to the CBS Sports Desk. Brent Musburger with some of those features we talked to you about. We'll have our Coach of the Year award and also a rebound feature about the doctor, Julius Erving. 24 seconds left in this first half. Archibald out to ML Carr with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Henderson with a rebound. Dunleavy gets away from him. Mike Dunleavy makes it an 11-point game. After trailing by 17, they've whittled some of that lead down. This will be the last trip down the floor. You see the time left. Archibald, Malone came out and blocked it, and that's the way this first half will end. Moses Malone came out defensively, and Archibald couldn't even see the basket. It's an 11-point lead for the Boston Celtics. At halftime, it'll be rebound with the Dr. Julius Erving.
They've done a little better taking care of it. As a result, they've got the lead.
Well, the leading scorer for the Celtics, Chris Ford with 12, Maxwell with 10. The leading man for Houston, Malone with 15 to go with 10 rebounds. Also, Larry Bird had 10 rebounds in that first half to go along with 5 assists, but he had only 5 points. Here's Robert Reid. Reid in the first half hit 1 of 7 from the field, now 1 of 8. Malone there, and
Robert Parrish picks up another foul right away.
Boy, is he having a difficult time against Malone.
Barry's got position with Malone. The ball just bounced out. He was a little too close to the basket. Malone took it right away from him. He reached back and inadvertently caught him with his elbow in the face, and that was the foul.
Chris Ford over encouraging Robert Parrish because, as we said earlier, he only played 14 minutes the last game because of foul trouble. And now he's in it again with his 4th. Moses Malone now 8 of 11 from the free throw line. And it's a 10-point game.
Moses right now, after this free throw, will have shot 3 times as many free throws as the entire Boston Celtic team.
In that first half, he only shot 7 field goals, hitting 4 of them. 41-32. So after being down by 17, they're now down by 9. Houston, this has been a characteristic of them the entire playoffs. They battle back. Here is Robert Parrish. Rebound, ripped down very impressively by Bill Willoughby, who started the second half. Henderson, Dunleavy, the guards, Reid, Malone, and Willoughby. Ford, Archibald, Robert Parrish, Larry Bird, and Cedric Maxwell for Bill Fitch's team. Here is Henderson off to Willoughby. Willoughby getting more and more confidence in his play. Dunleavy, nice fake. Off to Willoughby, tough shot. Rebound by Parrish. Up to Archibald. Tiny to Larry Bird, and Bird still with only 5 points in the game.
That was a big opportunity they missed in. They had 4 on 2 and didn't come up with anything.
Look at this. The points that have come off of the turnovers. 15-9. In that first half, 11 turnovers against Houston, 8 against Boston. Rebound by Parrish. Off it comes to Ford. Look at that move by Archibald. Archibald with a quickness. Henderson bats it out, and the Celtics will have it with 17 seconds on the shot clock. We talk about tempo. Both these teams moving right now. There's a guy that's not moving very well, though. Bill Fitch with a bad back. In it goes to Bird. Reid bats it out. That took a second. Robert Reid still struggling in his shooting game, but still playing the tough defense.
I said to Bill at halftime, I said, you know, if you're Del Harris, 2 for 17, your team goes and you only lose 6 points in the quarter to the team you're up against. You got to feel pretty good.
Robert Parrish, 43-32. Parrish, 4 points.
If you play hard defense like Robert Reid's playing, that'll take something off his shooting.
And he has really played the tough defense. After 27 points in game 1, he didn't hit from the field in game 2. And in this game, he's hit only 1. Archibald. Out to Ford. Ford having a remarkable first half. Now has 14 points for the game. 45-32 after cutting it to 9 now. The Celtics up and back up. Here's Reid. Maxwell dropping off of him. Dunleavy. Moses Malone. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Bill Willoughby. There's Gavin Maloof, the new owner and president of this Houston Rockets team at 24 years of age. Is he excited? He's sitting right behind us. 45-34. Archibald, difficult off-balance shot. Robert Reid on the move. Reid, who can play a guard or a forward for this team. To Dunleavy. And kickball. They'll have it out of bounds.
In this third quarter, Tiny has not ran the fast break as well as he could have. He hasn't made the proper choices so far in who he's going to pass to.
The Houston Rockets with 8 minutes 55 seconds remaining in the third period. 45-34 in favor of the Boston Celtics. Larry Bird has hit 2 of 8. To go back on what you were saying, Bill, Archibald not under control as he's running that fast break?
No, it's not a matter he's not under control, because he isn't under control. He's keeping the ball, but he hasn't made the decisions.
Reid saves it somehow.
That would lead to a good shot.
Boy, Reid, who's not shooting well, still hustling and comes up with the ball anyway. Again, showing you how these guys have gone after the ball on the floor. Reid to Bill Willoughby. And Willoughby now has hit 2 in a row.
I'll tell you, Bill Willoughby really has been a factor in this series so far. In game 2, I thought he was very impressive, did a good job on the board, scored some big buckets, and now he's come out to give him some life here in the second half.
We mentioned he had 14 points in the last game. He has 4 points in this one. 45-36, 8 seconds on the shot clock. Look at Malone, he's outside on Ford. And Ford goes inside. Rebound by Dunleavy. That's a reversal in rolls, isn't it? Dunleavy rebounding inside and Malone playing defense outside.
Hey, listen, as long as you get the ball back, it doesn't matter how you do it.
And the crowd.
Maybe he should have given the ball to Parrish, who had Dunleavy on him.
There's Robert Reid. Still, his shot has deserted him in a loose ball foul. And that's going to go on Parrish, I believe. That will be 5 on him. Robert Parrish just can't make any moves in this game.
I think Robert feels that everything he does is being looked at under a magnifying glass out there. Whenever he turns around, he picks up another foul.
He's going to stay in right now. There's Willoughby trying to do it on the back door. Remember now, they still have Willoughby they can bring in. McHale and Parrish. You know, we haven't seen Kevin McHale. What is that?
Well, he was in briefly there in that second period and made a couple of big blocks, but he hasn't played a great amount of time because they're looking for Parrish to try and get the job done, but he might not be in there very long either.
6 points to the game now for Parrish. Dunleavy broken out by Ford. Archibald has it. 7:14 remaining third period. Parrish, he's fouled by Reid. The basket will count.
Well, I'll tell you, it really shows a lot of determination on the part of Parrish with 5 fouls. He's still not going to stop playing his game offensively. He scored 2 big buckets in a row for them off a break situation, so he showed you that big fella can get down the floor.
Parrish playing with those 5 fouls. A little upset now, scoring a couple of buckets in a hurry. Chance for a 3-point play. Robert Parrish during the regular season averaged over 18 points a game. Excellent shot blocker, but last 2 games he hasn't been able to stay eligible. 50-36. Pressure by Archibald. Houston looked like they were making a move, and all of a sudden they're beaten back by the Celtic team. Boston won 62 games in the regular season. Bill Willoughby,
standing around seconds. They're standing around too much right now, the Rockets are.
And Willoughby, who had hit 2, misses that one. Parrish with another rebound. Larry Bird to Parrish. And Parrish now has really come roaring out of there after committing his 5th foul. He's hit 3 field goals and a free throw to make it 52-36. And the Celtics at the 6:37 mark now have run off 7 unanswered points.
While he's sitting there waiting, he hit 4 straight hoops, or 3 straight.
With a free throw to go with it. So 9 points. But he is now in the dressing room, and it looked like he had cut his eye above his right eye. Up to Calvin Murphy, who's now checked in. He'll try to create some instant offense, but Roby brings it down. Again, Bird on the floor.
And Houston's continuing to try to stop that outlet pass when they missed it. You see how they're picking up Tiny or whoever's bringing the ball up backcourt, so the Celtics can't pick the pace up too much.
Calvin Murphy was 0 for 3 in that first half. Now 0 for 4 in this game. 52-36. Chris Ford. Malone, but Willoughby comes away with it. So Houston, as Rick Barry said earlier, standing around a lot on offense. Malone and Roby shoving inside. Here's Moses making a move. Oh, Bird on the floor again, trying to get the rebound. Archibald, he's down, but he gets it off to Bird. Back to Maxwell. Chris Ford, hustling Chris Ford.
That's the way to run it. Larry Bird made the key pass to get that ball up court to stretch out the defense so that they couldn't. See, when you're pressuring, once you get behind the guy, you can't catch up.
Chris Ford now with 16 points, a high point man for the Celtics. 17 for Malone. Reid into Moses. Moses again working hard. That's the shot he's been so effective with. 54-38. 5 minutes left in this third period. And Boston has been impressive. Henderson after Tiny Archibald. Larry Bird still struggling as far as scoring is concerned. Off to Maxwell, and Maxwell powers in on Reid. Broken up. Willoughby reaches in and comes out of there with it.
That's 2 good shots the Celtics had that the ball would not drop for them, and that gives the Rockets a chance to get themselves back into this game.
Calvin Murphy would like to get his offense going. Still looking to score. Reid, he's also struggling. Oh, boy, what a tough shot that was.
Well, Robert got a little lucky on that one. He got into traffic, had to double clutch it, and got it off the glass, and I can guarantee you he didn't plan it that way.
So after a lead of 16, it's been cut to 14. The biggest lead of this game was 17 by the Celtics. Maxwell just pushes the board. Boy, this is a different Maxwell in the game we saw Thursday night, isn't it?
I would say he's a lot more determined out there, offensively especially.
12 points for Cedric. Back to that 16-point lead for the Celtics. Henderson, there was Bird. He was waiting on it. Archibald, super pass
by Larry Bird. That's the only kind of pass you can make it under those conditions, because Archibald did not have the step on the defensive man, so that they couldn't throw the lob pass. So they had to bounce pass with a good backspin, so it comes up just so you can handle it easy.
That's the biggest lead of the game for Boston. Well, we mentioned Parrish sustaining that injury, and we picked it up on a replay. Let's watch it.
Well, here we see right there. They both, Concast looked at them both go over the head to grab on. And that super pass that Bill was talking about on the part of Larry Bird. We'll see the good defense right there. He plays the pass perfectly. I'll get it out yet. And there's the fine pass just out of the grasp of the Rocket man. Tiny takes it and lays it in the basket.
Bird was 10th in the NBA in steals this year. 18-point lead. If you look at the shooting statistics, you can see Houston really struggling. That is off of Billy Baltz. It'll go over to the Boston Celtics.
What's going to make it even more difficult, Gary, and Bill has said this before, is the fact that the Rockets don't play the type of game to make up 18 points in a short amount of time. So they're going to have to play intense defense, stop the Celtics from scoring, and come down and get their offense in high gear.
In a long period of time, too.
Archibald. Look, Willoughby get up. Boy, he can go up.
I get up that high.
Can you?
Yeah, with a ladder.
Allen level.
Time.
Plenty of time.
Allen level is checked in. Rebound, Bird. Out to Chris Ford. Murphy. Look out. And Calvin Murphy committing the foul. He hit kind of in a strange way. He's okay, though.
And see, now that's a 2-shot foul because Murphy fouled him from behind. See, that's... Now, on that play, you get a 2-shot foul. Because if you foul a guy behind on the fast break, they give you 2 shots rather than 1.
Yeah, provided there's not another man in front of the man with the basketball.
Right now, Calvin Murphy not enjoying his birthday all that much.
Another defensive man, not offensive man.
There's Ford. That's one of the few shots he's missed. Ford playing very well with 16 points.
Well, by far, the Rockets are having their poorest overall performance as far as offense is concerned in shooting the basketball. And the Celtics still, I mean, they have a big lead now, but they haven't scored a lot of points themselves. It's just been a matter of the ineffectiveness of the Rocket offense. Good Celtic defense to go along with it, but the Rockets have not made the shots that they should have been making.
Remember, Celtics haven't been at 100 points in the last 3 games. Ford coming up with it. Murphy trying to save it. And Earl Strom says that he stepped out of bounds. The Celtics will get it back.
And the Celtics had 4 guys back on defense just in case he came up with it.
And again, they've shut their inside game off. Here in the third period, it's 7 baskets inside of 12 feet, 4 of the Celtics. Again, only 1 for the Rockets. They've been almost totally ineffective offensively inside.
Larry Bird to Maxwell. Malone going for the steal and the foul.
And Maxwell got hit in the head. He's down on the court.
Calvin Murphy with the foul. A lot of heads colliding out in this game. Maxwell trying to shake it off. And at the 2:40 mark, the Celtics with this 19-point lead, but they're getting beat up at the same time.
You know, see how Maxwell's hair is cut? I tried that 1 year. I had my hair cut that short, and I got hit with an elbow one time right in the top of the head. I haven't got a haircut since.
How many years is that since your last haircut?
And since I was playing, I can tell you that. But I want to tell you, I had a haircut like that. I felt naked after I got hit that one time. I said, boy, if it ever grows back, I'll never, ever get a cut like that again.
It's grown back now, I see. So you. But didn't you tell me you haven't had a haircut in how many years?
Just 17.
17 years.
Well, I tell you, the barber profession is probably thrilled that everybody isn't like you.
Hey, listen, I gave up haircuts and bought a car.
I won't even repeat what our producer Bob Stenner just said.
Good, that's real good, Rick, because what he says is of very little value.
We ignore him a lot anyway, right? 59-40. Chance to make this a 20-point lead now. This was the guy, Maxwell, who did just an outstanding job in that Philadelphia series. He became the defensive forward that Bill Fitch was looking for. Remarkable job. And now it's 20 points, 60-40 in favor of the Celtics. Murphy, level, Malone, Billy Fultz, and also Bill Willoughby in the lineup. There's Malone, power move. He's on rebound. Blocked that time by Maxwell. There's Willoughby, and he's fouled. Hey, Maxwell hanging in there tough that time on Moses Malone. Trying to go on Larry Bird.
Hey, Moses got surprised a couple of times here. You'll watch him get this rebound. After he misses, he gets the rebound. Then he'll make a fake, but nobody goes with him. And then all of a sudden, Maxwell waits until he committed. And if he had gone up on that first one, of course, he would have had an easy basket. There's Willoughby gets the offensive board. And the foul being picked up by Larry Bird.
That's the second foul on Larry Bird. 13th foul against the Boston Celtics.
Excellent defense by the Celtics. They did not go for that Malone fake. And as you can see, Malone was taken by surprise that no one left their feet.
Willoughby was 6 points, and all of them coming in the second half of play. Archibald level on him. Maxwell. Parrish on the bench now with 5 fouls. Archibald continues to struggle in his shooting. So he said he was 11 of 40 in the last 3 games and still trying to get on track outside. Bird inbounds it. Fresh 24 seconds on the clock.
A lot of players are trying to get on track in this game from the outside.
What do you mean by that, Rick?
Well, I mean, they didn't shoot very well. Rockets were 4 for 15 outside in the first half. The Celtics only 5 for 18. That's not very good shooting.
Larry Bird is not shooting well from outside, but look at Maxwell, would you? Brings it out. They'll have another fresh 24 seconds. 1:45 left in this third period. Archibald to Chris Ford. Ford has been shooting well. Here is Bird. Rebound, Roby.
Well, this is just like that last minute or so of game number 1 when the Rockets cost themselves a chance to win that game by giving the Celtics rebounds.
Boy, you wouldn't think you could have a lead like this, and Larry Bird had only 5 points. That basket will count. Level with the foul, and Roby with a chance for a 3-point play.
Second personal foul.
takes it right up the middle. Level reaches in from behind, commits the foul. Roby with the continuation play, lays it in. No one there to pick him up.
This is the place that Roby's been struggling, the free throw line. He has 6 points in the game and hits that one dead center. He must have been listening to you.
I know how that feels. I mean, to make a free throw finally after you missed about 6 in a row.
And the Rockets only have 12 points in this quarter. They have just been incredibly inefficient offensively in this basketball game. By far their worst game of the playoffs.
We mentioned Larry Bird with those 5 points. He's only hit 2 of 10 from the field. Yet the Celtics team has gotten very good play from Ford with 17, 13 points from Maxwell. Also Parrish, who picked up 9 points in a hurry. He has 11 for the game. Here's Calvin Murphy, still not on track, and Billy Pulse. Oh, wait a minute. May go against Roby. It's going to be Roby. That's his 4th. Roby with 4, Parrish with 5. Bill Fitch, I don't think he agrees with that.
Well, they still got two more tall guys over there.
Speaking of McHale, who again, I'm surprised he hasn't played more in this game, and also Eric Fernston.
Robert Parrish just come out of the locker room. He's got a Band-Aid over his right eye.
Allen Level makes it 63-44. Less than a minute to go. 3rd period, Archibald. Boy, did they use a pick on that play. There is Robert Parrish.
That pick was only moving very little, too.
What are you trying to say?
Good downfield blocker.
65-44. Murph. Somehow trying to get that shot on track. And he got it. Calvin Murphy with his first 2 points.
He really worked for that one because he wanted to go right, and Chris Ford has overplayed him so much left that he had to go into a pick a couple times to get a switch.
So far, it has not been a very happy birthday for Calvin Murphy.
Oh, it hasn't. There's Ford. He's outside the 3-point range. Billy Pulse for the rebound. So Ford, after hitting 2 from there, misses 1. This is the last shot now of this 3rd period, and that ball goes over the top of us. The great hands of Bill Russell saved us all. Excellent move, Bill. You still got it. I think you can still play.
Gary.
I tell you one thing, he's really old, though. Calvin called him Mr. Russell in that interview.
I saw that. Hey, how about that? Moses Malone. That basket will count. Malone now with 21 points. Look at this.
There's the inbounds pass by Willoughby. Level takes it down. Gets into traffic. Dishes it off. Looks like it was actually a pass to Malone, who makes a super tip-in without ever coming down to the floor. But the Rockets are in big trouble. An hour. No, thank you.
That's ridiculous, huh?
I don't want to do that. In the car, it's bad enough.
We start the 4th period. The biggest lead of this game, 21 points by Boston. Houston's trying to move back in, and then Cedric Maxwell follows. Maxwell now with 15 points. 67-48. Calvin Murphy, they haven't gotten the offense from him they need. He's trying to get back into this game. Willoughby tries to follow. Bird with a rebound. On the floor is Archibald. Roby and Murphy make that Allen Level. Commits a personal foul.
Well, I think one thing is important now. For the Celtics, of course, got things going their way. They're controlling the floor. It's Level running down, just grabbing Roby so he doesn't hurt himself, but also so he doesn't have the easy 2 points, because they know he's not a good free throw shooter.
You remember in the game a few first or second game when he fouled Malone the same way to make sure that he didn't get the 3-point play. If I was Rick Roby, I'd be upset if a guy fouled me like that.
You would?
Yeah, the way he shoots free throws.
Anyway, I think it's important at this stage that the Rockets try to get back to executing their offense a little bit better. Get their confidence back. Make a run here at the Celtics. Try to get themselves prepared again, hopefully to get back and maybe win this game, which is a very difficult task at this stage, but to try to get themselves ready for the game coming up tomorrow.
Allen Level. Billy Pulse. And Pulse, who struggled today. Rebound Roby. There's Level going for the steal, and it's off of Houston. We have a report on Robert Parrish. You know, he went to the dressing room a while ago. The cut over his eye. That cut received 5 stitches. It's in the right eyelid is where it is. He could be available for future action.
5 has been a bad number for him today. 5 fouls, 5 stitches.
Well, 6 was the number he had in game 2. Bird to Maxwell. Maxwell scores. Moses very upset about the play, and Maxwell was 17. 69-48.
Maxwell can't believe it. He made the shot, and he just got decked. He didn't get to the free throw line.
That's through the hands of Billy Paul. Larry Bird on the move. And Larry Bird has just scored his first points of the second half. That's 7 for the game.
And he outrun Billy Paul to get that one, too.
That surprise you?
They got an airplane, a paper airplane. The official saw it. Paper airplane to come on the game on the floor, and of course somebody can get hurt with that.
Look at this. The Rockets have not scored 20 points yet in the first 3 periods.
That's a great way to put yourself in a big hole.
Maxwell committed the foul on Calvin Murphy, his third. This is Major Jones who will come in, the brother of Caldwell Jones of the Sixers.
Now, there's one way to look at it. If you're an eternal optimist, you say, well, we may as well get all the bad quarters out now so we don't have to worry about them later on.
Well, this doesn't work that way, Rick.
Well, I said if you're the eternal optimist.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say realist.
Now that free throw is 48 in a row for Calvin Murphy. The playoff record is 56. And that was Bill Sharman of the Boston Celtics. 49. Getting close, isn't he? 7 more and he'll tie it.
Keep it up, Gary.
What do you mean? There's your old boss, Red Auerbach. I didn't mean old that way. I didn't mean to emphasize that word. Archibald still looking for the outside shot. Allen Level. Nice play by Level. The basket will count and a foul on Tiny Archibald.
Now, you see what I mean about Allen Level's effectiveness in an open court in a running game. That's where he really excels. He can do some incredible things. And the only way they can get back it out is to score some points fairly quick. There's Archibald reaching back, committing the foul. Level floating nicely into the basket. Good control. Lays it in.
Level has played very well. He played so well against Kansas City in that series. And he's come in here and done a good job again.
You know, we talked about the different players and different teams. I mean, Bill, you take a player like Gus Williams who sat out this year and played for Seattle. If he had played on this Rocket team under this control type of an offense, he would not be the same Gus Williams that people were used to seeing at Seattle. So you need to be in the right situation to be able to show your talents to the fullest at times.
9:40 left to go, 71-52 in favor of Boston. Rick Roby in on Malone. Ford, Archibald. Rick Roby blocked by Malone. Roby again. Boy, he used that left hand very well.
And what he does, he stretches his arm out and he just flips it.
Roby with 9 points. Level. Threads the needle that time to Murphy. He's fouled by Chris Ford. Murphy's been on the floor, hasn't he? 2 fouls on Chris Ford out of Villanova, 32-year-old backcourt man. We have Murphy 33, Ford and Archibald are both 32. Some real veteran savvy in the backcourt of both these teams. Level, off to Malone, nice play. Moses Malone now with 23. He had 13 in game 1, 31 in game 2, and now with 23. His high was 42 points against San Antonio. Major Jones now has fouled Cedric Maxwell.
Here we see the foul. He tries to come to the ball. Major Jones using his right arm to prevent him from coming across. You've got to get your body in position and not use your arm and that to beat the man to the strong side. Here's Level with a good penetration. Roby comes over to pick it up. He dishes it off to Malone. He goes around Bird and makes the nice reverse layup.
There's Roby again with that left hand, and he's fouled.
You know what, Houston, in this game, they got to try to find a way to get back in the game. And those 7 points are no indication in the fine ball game he's played. Because with a good ball player, statistics won't give you any idea if you just look at one statistic from how they play. He's done a great job on the boards, and that's been the key to it. And he's got some 5 assists, so he's been doing things besides trying to score points.
And that's what you said earlier. He adjusts his game, and it's an amazing thing. He doesn't seem to let the other part of his game affect it if he's not shooting all that well.
And you know, I'd say in this building, he would be the guy probably least concerned about the fact he only had 7 points.
Willoughby. Nice play by Willoughby. He's fouled. Willoughby has been one of the guys today for Houston. Has been a real bright spot he has thus far in this contest. A total of 6 points. That foul is going to go on Maxwell, his 4th. You can see his average. 14 points in the last game. That was a playoff high for this young man.
The one thing that the Celtics, as Kevin McHale comes into the game for the Celtics, has done in this game, Bill, that they didn't do in the last ball game, was that every time they got this lead and the Rockets made a run at them, they did not allow them to get really back into it 2, 4, 5 points down. They came right back and got it back up there to 10, 12, 14 points, and they responded to the challenge each and every time.
75-56. Level on Archibald. This Boston team has been so tough on the road this year. And of course, Houston hasn't beaten them in the last 6. Up it comes a Carr, level, trying to go for the steal. Archibald back to ML Carr. Malone tries to come out of there. Willoughby saves it to Malone. To Calvin Murphy. Murphy to level. Back intended for Murphy. ML Carr batted it out of bounds.
Allen should have taken that shot. He had an open shot from 15 feet away, and he was giving it to Murphy under the basket, who had a lot of big men down there with him, and better off to take the jumper then.
Bird comes dribbling out there with it, but it'll still be Houston's basketball. Major Jones will inbounds it. Major, one of 6 brothers to play at Albany State for his brother Oliver. He'll inbounds the ball to Willoughby. There's McHale, who has really got a lot of rest time in this game. Major Jones, and Jones reaches over Bird and commits the foul.
Call number 11, Major Jones.
That's a 7:55 mark. The Celtics will have it.
Now, the Rockets can't give up. They've got to keep pressing and playing the game. But what they have to do also is they're going to have to experiment a little bit to find out what they can do to start getting ready for the next game.
Also, Del Harris got to make a decision whether he thinks there's a chance to get in and win this game or not, because if he has to play Moses Malone that many more minutes, he has to again play very quickly tomorrow afternoon, and he doesn't want him to be that fatigued. And Moses, they say, has a history of not playing that well when he has to play back-to-back games.
Kevin McHale, Murphy with the steal. And Calvin Murphy is called for the foul. Murphy committing a personal foul, his 3rd. Well, that's the thing about this series is adjustments you have to continually make.
Here we go with the inbounds play. That's McHale with the basketball. Murphy comes over with a good blindside steal. He'll take it all the way down the court. Let's see if Roby gets himself set. There's Roby. He's still moving. Looked like a block.
Now, you call him with the arm.
Throwing off the left elbow then.
Major Roby. Roby again with the left hand. Moses Malone with the block. But talking about adjustments, Bill, Del Harris's team adjusted from game 1 to 2. Now, the way things are going here, what adjustments are going to have to make for game 4?
Well, he's going to have to try to get back to the same things they did in second game, which is control the tempo again.
And they obviously haven't been able to do that today.
Well, they were able to, every time the Boston team started to pull away, he would call a timeout, or he'd set up a play, and Moses was effective inside. But he had not been as effective inside today, so they're going to have to work again on getting him effective inside if they want to win the game tomorrow.
Well, we mentioned game 4 tomorrow. Also on CBS Sports Sunday, we'll have that lightweight fight. Also the diving contest. 16 countries competing in that. And the skiing, 124 miles an hour. That is amazing. So we'll be with you tomorrow, game 4.
Well, Rudy Tomjanovich is going to get a chance to play now for the Rockets. And he has decided to rest Moses Malone, just like we thought about. He's going to give him a rest and save him for tomorrow.
Well, we were doing some checking as you look at Tomjanovich.
You think he has a bad break? I have to interrupt you, Gary. He just got stitches in his eye the other day at practice. He doesn't even get to play, and he got stitches.
We were just checking during that timeout. The fewest points in a playoff game this year was when Kansas City scored 76 against Phoenix. But you know what the all-time low is since they've had the 24-second clock?
I know.
I know you know. What is it?
71.
And that was in 1955, April 7th. Fort Wayne scored 74 points. Syracuse, 71.
I'll tell you right now, the Rockets are going to have to play good basketball in the next 7 minutes to get over the 71 mark. They just have been so few. It's been such a futile effort. 11 for 36 inside, 12 feet. 7 for 24 outside through 3 quarters. And the difference has been inside because the Celtics are only 6 for 25 through 3 quarters on outside shots, but they've gotten 22 for 41 inside the 12-foot area.
Well, we've seen this Houston team struggle before, only to bounce back in the next game. Here's Tom Janovich. Bird with a steal. Up to Gerald Henderson. 79-56. Henderson with 4 points in the game. What was that you said? Get it all out of your system?
Well, they're certainly doing it right now. And as I say, sometimes that can work in your favor. Get rid of him.
Calvin Murphy lost it. He tried to go inside. That turnover now is 18 against Boston. Red Auerbach, I think he may feel like he has this one going his direction.
I would say that if he had the old cigar ploy going for him again, that it would have been lit by now without question.
Might have had half of it burned away. 79-56. Just outside 6 minutes. There's Kevin McHale. Rebound, Billy Pulse. Well, that's a real luxury, and it shows you the bench strength that Boston hasn't had to use McHale all that much today. Kevin McHale in the last game came in and had 12 points and 5 rebounds. Tough shot. Tom Janovich tries to follow. Roby has it taken away by Level, but he's over the end line.
You know, in the 60s, guys would come by and take the ball from me like that one time.
You could say the old days, Bill. It's okay.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that, Rick. I wasn't going to say that. I might have thought it, but I wasn't going to say it. Guys come by and we call that raking, where they just take all your lower arms and the ball, and they're only permitted to do that once.
That foul on Willoughby is his third, the 15th foul against Houston. All right, now you guys talked about this a little bit earlier, about how tough it's been for Moses to play back-to-back games. That's in fact what they're going to have to do. Some revamping, some rethinking is going to have to come into game 4.
I said that's been the history. That's what they say. I'd never really noticed it all that much. I play with Moses, and I guarantee in this situation, Moses will come out and he will be tough. I mean, he's got youth going for him. He's a great player, and I'm sure that he's very disappointed in what's happened here this afternoon, and he'll be ready.
Bird now has 8 points in this game, 80-56. Again, would you believe that you could be winning a playoff game like this, and Bird only has 8 points?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, you were supposed to be so... to Willoughby, who tries to stop. Bill Willoughby will go to the line. It's going to go on Larry Bird. That's his third.
He got hit in the mouth, as you can see him holding on. There's a nice pass off by Level. Willoughby goes in with a real strong move. Bird catches him right in the face with his arm. He hangs on the rim, got away with that, so no technical. Saved $75 on that one.
Hey, Rick, I want to get back to Mr. Russell here for a minute. What was this yes that you threw out at me just a moment ago?
You asked me what I think that they'd be winning by this large a margin with Bird only 8 points. And since I was sitting here watching, yes, I would believe it.
Would you amplify on that?
Well, this team, what's so good about it, and why they've had such a good record over the last couple of years, is that they don't depend on any one man for their scoring. And so that it's like trying to hold water in your hand. You put 2 fingers together and you leave an opening in another one.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, when you get this old, you get very philosophical, Gary.
Here's Henderson into Bird. Bird to Carr. Kevin McHale. Billy Pulse really fighting for the position on that rebound.
Yeah, he out-tiptoed Roby on that one.
Yeah. Rudy for 3.
Rudy T. Rebound now cleared down by Roby.
I think I saw you reading a book said old philosophical sayings for retired centers.
4.5 minutes left in this one. Bird up to Carr.
Now what they have to do is you have to be very careful in a game like this. Now what do you want to do? Do you want to beat the guy so bad that you embarrass him so they come out all hyped up tomorrow? Or do you want to let them finish the game so that they just feel disappointed?
I know what your answer is to that.
Yes.
Beat them bad.
As bad as you can.
Give them no quarter, huh?
Give them something to play for the next day.
There's Eric Fernston in the game now for the Celtics. We have 4:08 left. 82-60 Boston. 13 rebounds in this game. Here is Cedric Maxwell. Fernston is checked in. Gerald Henderson. And Henderson makes it 84-60. Henderson was 6 points. The high point man has been Malone. He has 23, and he's sitting down and waiting for tomorrow.
During the timeout, we overheard the players, which is a very good thing to tell everybody. Said every time down, learn something. So that tomorrow's game, they may be able to turn it around by some of the things they've learned at this point.
Henderson and Murphy are going at it pretty good.
Maxwell, Willoughby on him. 3:17 left. Tomjanovich and McHale pushing inside. Here's Eric Fernston. Rebound by Tomjanovich. Rudy Tomjanovich. He's been an outstanding performer through the years. Malone and Willoughby, the only 2 men in double figures.
That's what we talked about. Moses didn't have the big game, and he didn't get the other people to help out and pick up the slack.
There's Tom Henderson scoring. 84-62. Tomjanovich, a first-round draft pick in 1970. He has led the team in scoring 4 times. Been a very outstanding outside shooter through the years, out of Michigan in his 11th year. Fernston to ML Carr against Calvin Murphy. That'll be Houston's basketball. 2:38 left. Game 4 tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time. The Rockets have been in some very difficult situations before in the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see if they can make the adjustments necessary. Willoughby misses. Murphy reaching in. Tomjanovich, good hustle on Calvin Murphy's part. Bill Willoughby. And Henderson is going to be Houston's basketball with 2:14 left to go.
Well, they may be able to adjust tomorrow, but not today.
Today is one of those days you try to forget if you're the Houston Rockets.
I'll tell you what, though, it makes it easier to forget a game like this than one that you lose by 1 point when you have to think about 19 different plays that could have been the difference. And that man right there, Cedric Maxwell, was a different basketball player in today's game. He's one of the big reasons why they've turned things around.
Well, he has 19 today, Rick. He only had 6 points in game 2. He said, I just didn't have my head on straight. I really wasn't ready for that second game, but he has been today. Billy Pultz, he's fouled by Fernston. 1:43 left. Here's Eric. He came in and was used in that Philadelphia series to give up a foul that they had to waste, as now Terry Durod checks in. Durod, an excellent outside shooter, started the year with the Dallas Mavericks. And Billy Pultz at the line. Now, Billy has 4 points. He's been averaging about 12 and a half a game.
Tell you what, this is a critical game, I felt, for the Celtics, in that the Houston Rockets played good basketball for 2 games up there in Boston. Could easily have won both of those games. They came here with momentum in their favor, and it was important for the Celtics to get that home court advantage back, because to Boston it is a home court advantage. They play exceptionally well in their building, and they came out here with an intensity. Even though they didn't shoot the ball well from the outside, they had an intensity about them that was important, and I think really helped them to win the game.
Well, you mentioned their home court, but they also had the best record in the NBA on the road. They were 27-14.
Well, when you win 62, you got to win someplace other than home.
88-64. 8 points in the ball game for Henderson. Calvin Murphy. Substitution. Major Jones will check back in for the Houston Rockets. That foul was on ML Carr. And Billy Pultz will sit down and regroup for tomorrow.
Calvin Murphy with 2 chances to make 1 for the Rockets.
Here's Calvin. Well, he'll get over this birthday. It hasn't been a birthday celebration. And come back tomorrow. There was that. He just missed the free throw.
I don't want to say bringing bad luck. This day has been such a bad day, and things have gone so poorly for the Rockets. It's no wonder that something like that would happen. The streak that Calvin had, a great streak.
All right, come on, let's go. Run the court.
Gary shouldn't keep talking about it, right?
Gary kept talking about it. There you go.
Here is Durod from the corner. Well, that record of Bill Sharman's will live another year. 90-67, 1:10 left in the game. They'll be going back to Brent Musburger in the CBS Sports Desk, and he'll be updating what's been happening elsewhere in the world of sports.
Comes Calvin down the court. He just pushes off, doesn't get the offensive foul. He gets back up. Now he steps right over the top of Henderson again, and they called him for walking.
Here is Henderson off to Durod. Less than a minute to go in this game. Henderson.
I got it.
Nice shot from outside. He's in double figures
And
now.
one thing the Celtics see, their second team, all these people are in now, they're playing good basketball. The Rockets are still running a little bit ragged out there, and that's not helping them at all. They should still try to run things, set things up.
Well, the turnovers have completely reversed from Thursday night. Houston has now 22, Boston 10. That's a complete reversal from game 2. It was the other way around. 92-67. Willoughby went up, and Fernston commits the foul.
Hey, Willoughby's got to be frustrated. He's gone up with a great amount of determination to dunk the ball twice, only to have someone challenge him each time and get whacked pretty good and never have the ball drop in the basket.
We're going to have a new playoff record set here. Lowest point scored in a playoff game. As 71 was the record. It's now 67. 2 for 1. Unless they close in a hurry here. Well, they still might. They might tie it with 30 seconds left. Willoughby makes it 69. 92-69. Henderson, Murphy, Calvin reaching in. And Henderson makes it 94-69. This still will be, though, the 4th straight time that the Boston Celtics have been below 100. Tomjanovich, Major Jones. And so with that, it ties the record that Syracuse had 71 points in 1955. So they have that dubious distinction of holding the record with the Syracuse National. Broken up, and that will do it. So the Boston Celtics have taken a 2-games-to-1 lead in this best-of-7 NBA World Championship Series. And they did it convincingly. 94-71. All-time Rockets low. And right now, they've got to be very, very low. They got to go in the dressing room and obviously regroup.
Well, what you do after a game like this, after you get beat pretty good, you can't go back. You can look it over and see some of the mistakes you made and see if there are any things that you did that were key to making it come out this way. But as for psychologically, I don't think it'll do any harm. I really don't. I think the team that got this far, they got this far because they were mentally tough. In other words, they're able to bounce back and get ready to play the next day. So then the thing that they have to go over, if anything, is to see if they can find the place where they lost it. I mean, where the game turned on them. It may be in the first quarter, maybe second quarter. Most likely it's in the middle of the first quarter.
I was going to ask you, is that where you think it did turn?
Yes, I think it came in the middle of the first quarter when Boston started to break and they got Houston into an up-tempo game. Look what they wanted to get into. And so what happened was they got behind, too far behind for them for the way they wanted to play. And so in order to get back in the game, they had to go along with the Boston way of doing things. And once you start doing that, it gets worse, not better.
And the Boston way of doing things was impressive. So for Rick Barry and Bill Russell, I'm Gary Bender. We're going to go to the CBS Sports Desk in New York. Let's go to Brent Musburger. We'll be back with Game 4 tomorrow.